This man, Aaron Rodgers, is now officially a New York Jet. And what the Jets got for him, they got a pick swap of their two picks. So Green Bay will now pick 13th this year in the NFL draft. The Jets will now pick 15th. Green Bay also got a second round pick coming up in this year's draft, as well as a sixth-round pick in this year's draft, and then a conditional one, where if Aaron Rodgers plays 60% of the snaps this year, that will turn into a first-round pick. If not, it will be a second-round pick the Jets will get for Aaron Rodgers. And I gotta say, I know a lot of people are saying the Jets did not get a whole lot from this deal. I'm surprised the Jets even got a conditional one that's based off percentage of snaps, and they got the flip-flop of picks and an additional second. So I don't know if the Jets were looking for too much draft compensation. I think the Jets did want an additional one. But they wanted it, unprotected because they did not know if Aaron Rodgers was going to play next year. Green Bay apparently wanted it to be a conditional one, that if Aaron Rodgers retired, they did not want to have to give it to the Jets, and I thought that was completely fair. But thank God this saga is over. Again, Aaron Rodgers is officially a New York Jet, and now we transition really into not as much draft compensation, but into what are the Jets going to look like in their own division, and then what are the Green Bay Packers going to look like with Jordan Love in their division. Obviously, those answers are those questions, excuse me, are yet to be answered. They will become more clear in the draft. You'll see in my mock draft, which, by the way, this really does not change a lot for me in terms of draft picks, because I projected that Aaron Rodgers would be a Jet when I did my initial first round mock draft. So it does not change anything for me in terms of the mock draft you're about to listen to. Or, of course, if you're on YouTube, that should already be uploaded. You can go and check that out. But in my opinion, the Jets need offensive line help. You'll see I went there, and you'll see obviously where I went with Green Bay. There's a lot of different avenues they could go, whether it's wide receiver, tight end, defensive line, linebackers, secondary help as well. But when we look at the draft and we look at free agency, and then we'll look at preseason, and then we'll look at injuries, as I've already said back in March, when obviously Aaron Rodgers, who was a blame deflecting diva, went on the Pat McAfee show and talked about his desire to be a New York Jet. When you look at the Jets division, of course, we include the New England Patriots, which nobody knows what's going to happen there. We presume Mac Jones will be their starting quarterback at the start of the 2023 season, but we really don't know if they're going to shape things up in the draft. When you look at New England, who, of course, Belichick is always a stud defensive-minded coach, though he's apparently tone-deaf when it comes to the offensive mind of the ball. We'll see how Bill O'Brien sort of encompasses that. But then you got the Dolphins, who are bringing back Tua Tagovailoa, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, one of the most explosive offenses in the NFL. Added a defensive back in Jalen Ramsey, of course, is an all-pro. Pro Bowler, and of course, along with Javon Allen, Byron Jones, and all those guys back there, going to be really hard to throw the ball on the Miami Dolphins. And then you have the Buffalo Bills, who have one of the best, rosters in all of the league. Great secondary, obviously stud quarterback, great wide receivers, great tight ends, great offense, can put up points with anybody, can go head-to-head with anybody in the National Football League. So you look at those three in that division. That's going to be very tough. I currently have the Jets, even with Aaron Rodgers, penciled in for third in that division. I don't think they're better than Miami, and I don't think they're better than Buffalo. And I think at best they're going to get a wild card spot. And when you look at those wild card spots in the AFC, it's going to be very interesting because, as we talked about, earlier in the offseason, what is Denver going to do with Russell Wilson and Sean Payton? Are they going to bounce back? You got the Chargers with Brandon Staley seemingly on his last legs. Will Justin Herbert be able to bounce back here in the postseason, as we all presume Kansas City is going to get that division spot? In the AFC South, are the Colts with Shane Steichen? If they get a young quarterback, are they going to take a significant leap and be contenders at the end of the year? Will Tennessee move up and take a quarterback, and will they be contenders once again at the end of the year, or will they strip their roster down? The Browns with Deshaun Watson, this is make or break. We presume that Lamar Jackson will be back with the Baltimore Ravens. They are always a playoff contender. Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals are always a playoff contender. No matter what the Steelers do, they always are seemingly into the mix at the end of the year. So the competition in the AFC is insane. And as I have said, when this move was again almost announced in March, I don't even know if the Jets are playoff contenders with Aaron Rodgers. This to me is a very Brett Favre move. Obviously, Brett Favre left the Packers after 15 years to go to the Jets. Started off hot, struggled at the end of the season. The Jets did not make the playoffs. Eric Mangini was fired. Brett left for Minneapolis. They went to the NFC Championship game, and we know what happened with Bounty Gate and the New Orleans Saints in that ball game, and that was pretty much the end of Brett Favre's career a little bit over a decade ago. Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay won Super Bowl, just like Brett Favre, and Aaron won that as a wild card, as a number 6 seed, which is pretty incredible. And by that measure, I think you have to consider Green Bay, the Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre tenure. If you combine the two, it's even more disappointing. But obviously, the Rodgers tenure, right? One Super Bowl appearance, one Super Bowl victory in 15 years with one of the greatest generational passers of the football and one of the greatest quarterbacks we have ever seen. In the same time as he played as obviously Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Ben Roethlisberger, Joe Flacco, and among other AFC quarterbacks of the greatness. But in the NFC, guys like Matt Ryan made a Super Bowl during that time. Guys like Colin Kaepernick, guys like Jimmy Garoppolo, Russell Wilson, obviously, Cam Newton. So there are guys that had, 1 to 2 good seasons, and there were really good quarterbacks like Russell Wilson, who always seemed to knock Aaron Rodgers off his throne, who, of course, he ended up going, 1-4, 1-5, something like that in NFC Championship games, with his only victory coming over the immortal Caleb Enney in 2010 after Jake Cutler got injured at halftime of that NFC Championship game against the Chicago Bears. Now, Green Bay, I've been saying for a couple of years, ever since they drafted Jordan Love out of Utah State, who I watched lose to former Kent State quarterback Dustin Crum in a bowl game. I saw Jordan Love last year in Philadelphia. He popped way more for me in that meaningless garbage time moment in that Week 12 Sunday Night Football game than he ever had in the last couple of years. So who knows? Maybe he can play. But we'll see the development of Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs, and obviously those Green Bay wide receivers I think they have 2 good backs, Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. They're going to have to rely on him a lot. The silver lining for Jordan Love is he does have an offensive coach in Matt LaFleur. I think that will help him. I think LaFleur's been prepping him, and Green Bay is ready to go forward with Jordan Love. And in that division, Detroit, we all expect, even though those guys got suspended for gambling, Jameson Williams, among others, we all still suspect the Lions have a high-powered offense. I think they're going to go offense and defense. They have 2 picks in the first round of this draft, so we all expect the Lions to get better. The Bears with one offseason with Justin Fields. If Justin Fields takes that leap, could be, potentially good. And then Minnesota is always good, not great. You got the Kirk Cousins situation hanging over them. Their defense is still going to be bad, no matter what they do in this draft, I believe, even though they have a top 5 wide receiver in Justin Jefferson. So in Green Bay's division, it's a lot of question marks. There's still a question mark about Detroit, Minnesota, and Chicago. In Aaron Rodgers' case, it's mostly all proven. We know Buffalo's going to be good. We know Miami's going to be good. We know New England's always going to hang around there. And again, in the NFC, it's Eagles, Cowboys, Niners, your top 3. And then after that, it's sort of a crapshoot. In the AFC, there's going to be 10, 12, 13, potentially even 14 teams, I would say, battling for 7 spots. And Aaron Rodgers may not get one of those spots. So who knows? There's a real possibility this year, in my opinion, that Jordan Love is in the postseason and Aaron Rodgers is not. That doesn't mean Rodgers isn't going to have good numbers with the Jets. Obviously, they have a good receiving core and in the receiver, Garrett Wilson. I don't know why I said that. I almost said Garrett Davis for a second. That's why I paused. Obviously, Garrett Wilson, they brought over Alan Lazard and Corey Davis. I believe Braxton Berrios is still there. They have a couple other complimentary pieces as well, along with the running back, the great back, Brees Hall. But at the end of the day here, again, the AFC East is much more of a gauntlet than the NFC North. And I wish Aaron Rodgers good luck, because this is what you get when you're a bad teammate. You drove Devontae Adams out of town. You struggled last year in your last game of Green Bay. You failed to make the playoffs against the Detroit Lions. So Aaron Rodgers has made his bed, and now he will lie in it. Do you like that clip from the Brand's World podcast? If so, make sure you go down there and hit that subscribe button. While you're down there hitting the subscribe button, make sure to also hit the notification bell so you never miss another upload. And make sure you check out all the other clips from the Brand's World podcast right here on YouTube.